当 AI 几秒钟就能吐出来人类程序员熬夜敲的代码，开发者该何去何从？带着这个疑问，在年初北京举办的 Google Cloud 出海峰会上，我抓到了2位来自谷歌的重磅嘉宾，一位是 Google Cloud 的开发者生态总监 Matt Thompson， 另一位是 Google Cloud 全球开发者市场负责人 Ricky Robinett。我先向2位国际友人秀了一下我用 AI 玩街霸的项目，接着我们来了一场毫无保留的对话。这次对谈不仅仅是关于谷歌的技术动向，更是一剂给所有技术人的镇定剂。这次呢，我的塑料口语和嘉宾面对尖锐问题的临场反应都没有后期剪掉，就像对话中聊到的，越是在 AI 可能颠覆一切的科技时代，不完美但真实的人味就越重要。I notice you are into deep sea photography.
I am.
I'm definitely not as cool as you.
Same, yeah.
That's cool. I'm actually wondering, but I could imagine, what does it feel like when you see like Gemini 3 Pro nails a complex tasking problem, coding task?
Yeah.
Would this remind you of the deep sea experience?
It's a great question. So yesterday, I'm going to take this in a different direction. So yesterday we got to look at a number of startups that had come through our accelerator. And one of those startups, they use prompts to create a 10-minute movie, 1, 2, 5, and 10 minutes. And so I gave it a prompt, a text prompt, a scuba diver surrounded by sharks, exploring a coral reef. And I just left the prompt at that. And it created minutes of video and a story where the sharks started attacking the diver makes it to the surface and saves himself. AI did all of that. So to answer your question, really cool things I see in code do reflect nature. Matter of fact, we were just talking about your Street Fighter AI experiment. The learning curve that you showed is exactly what happens in nature. And we see that when diving. You'll often find a sea creature outside of its home area, either because the current's taking it or something's chased it. It's either going to survive or die. And it's all based on how fast it learns. So for me, what I see in what you built is what I see in nature. It's adapt and survive and grow. So very similar. I think I like diving more, but it's very cool. Yeah.
So for Ricky, so if Matt is the guy diving into the deep and bring back the pictures, then you are the one who is responsible for explaining to the crowd what the values of the pictures are. Yeah. So what is the job of an evangelist like? What's the difficult part?
Yeah, I was going to say, Matt's risking his life in the water, and I'm just sitting on the beach waiting for him to come back, and I'm like, looks good. No, I love Matt's point on human beings being created for something, right? And I think that throughout history, right, human beings are created to create, to tell stories, right? And I actually think your underwater photography is such a great parallel, because when I see the photos,
Yep.
I see the photo, but I also want the story,
Yeah.
right? I want to understand, where were you? What is it? A rare photo? Was it hard to get? Oh my gosh, you had to fly,
Yeah.
30 hours and take a boat. And so I think for the same thing with developers, it's being able to show them those stories and make them the hero of those stories, right? I don't think talking about our products, our tools is the thing that gets us most excited. What gets us excited is, oh my gosh, I met a developer. They built a Street Fighter reinforcement learning. And I'm going to tell that story all over the place. And I think just collecting as many of those stories and celebrating as many of those developers is really what my job is about. And I feel so lucky to do that.
Thank you. So you think human's job is storyteller?
I think that is the unifying thing that makes us human, right? And I could talk all day about this. I won't distract us too much, but my thing is magic, right? And what I love about magic is really you're trying to show someone a thing that feels impossible. And you're trying to get them to embed a story in their head that could never have happened. And the exciting thing about all this technology is it feels impossible, but it isn't, right? And those are the best stories. As someone sees it, they're like, well, there's no way I could do that. And you say, let me show you how.
To the practical part, the advancement of artificial intelligence has raised a lot of discussion about one-person team, super individuals. Have you guys ever encountered some of
He's one.
Tetris? I saw your Tetris game. Yeah.
So I will shout out someone, though I think this person is a great example of what I think the future looks like. There's a company called Supermemory. The CEO and the kind of person who did all of it is named Dravia. He is incredible. I got to work with him and just so inspired by him and like just able to do so much as an individual. Now, I think there's something there, but the thing about Dravia that I think is so true of what we will see is such a great community builder too, right? And he inspires others, and he wants to encourage other people to see what they can do, right? And he wants to bring people along on the journey. And so, you know, in some ways, I think people can go farther by themselves than they ever could. But I think that the most fun is to do it together. And I think Dravia is such a great example of someone who, like, yeah, he was the solo founder, but is bringing everyone along on that journey and lifting people up on their own journeys.
From a Google perspective, we have a very interesting view from our own internal engineering teams. One of the conversations I get to have with customers all the time is that they come to Google, they come visit our campus, and we spend a day with them. And one of the questions they always ask is, how does Google build product? How does Google build Google Cloud? What can we learn from that? Because we want to do that. And with AI, it's the idea of taking a 10x developer and having everybody be a 10x developer. So every developer inside Google is now using AI to go not just faster, but more efficient and with less bugs. So about 30% of all the code that Google produces today is generated using AI in our products and everything else. So there are super developers, I agree. We kind of look at every developer inside Google becoming that 10x developer, and then there'll still be those few 100x developers that, you know, as you described, are just amazing in what they do.
That raises some anxiety, especially for computer science students. What should they focus on to stay relevant in this era?
I have 2 kids. I have a daughter who just graduated in computer science from university. She now wants to go to law school, in part because of this challenge, and in part because she's very interested in the ethics of AI. I have a son who's halfway through university studying computer science, AI, and he thinks about this question all the time. So he's decided that if he's in the very top of his class, there's no fear. If he's at the bottom of his class, it's going to be hard. I think that's probably true, right? So I was having a conversation with somebody else today. Will there be as many developers on the planet in 5 years as there are today? I actually think there'll be more, but I think there'll be different skills. Anyway, so what do you think?
I think that is true. I also think everyone's going to have to reflect on why they build, right? And if the why for you building is like, I needed a job, and that's totally fine, it's a scary time, and understandably, right? And I think a lot of people have anxiety about that. If the why you build is like, hey, I had this idea that I believe needs to exist in the world, like, the more people that can build, I think there are kind of limitless ideas that can exist in the world, right? And so that's not going to stop. If the why you build is like, I feel this innate desire to create things, right? Like, that's not going to change. And so, you know, what's going to happen with the profession of software development is, I think, is a thing that everybody is trying to figure out. But what's going to happen with being a developer, I think there's going to be way more people who can bring their ideas to life, and that can only be a good thing in the long term. But, you know, I do think, to the same point, like, the people who are in the top of their class looking for a job, it's going to be great. But the same, if you're in the bottom of your class, but you build a bunch of stuff,
be creative,
be creative, no one's going to care that they're just going to see what you built, right?
That's right.
Like you mentioned, a case where a guy just so great at like utilizing the power of AI and build everything, and he is more devoted to building the community. Maybe connections.
I think the role of humans, A, is to understand the impact, the ethics, right? I think that that's really important. By freeing up how we build it and accelerating the pace, that gives us more space to ask why we built it, should we build it, right? I also think, I've worked at startups, I've worked at big companies, all the same problems with stuff we build, which is you spend all this time building it and then people may not want it, right? And so I think the role of the human is understanding the MVP, like understanding product market fit, understanding the feedback loop, right? And all of those things are, to me, some of the most fun things too. But yeah, I think the human part becomes more about the engagement, the feedback loop on it.
In our role, we get the opportunity to both speak to a lot of developers around the world and also understand some of the research that happens. And some of the most interesting research, you can go all the way down to children. So when one child plays with a toy, you'll see some creative ways that the toy is used. When you add a second child to play with the same toy, you'll often see tension, but even more creativity, more than 2x. And so if there's a multiplier effect as you add people to the network, you're actually adding creativity as people come together, which is, people ask me all the time, why do developers like to engage with people? Developing is often a solo experience, headphones on, in the flow, I'm creating something. And yet they're very social people. Like when the headphones come off, they want people to be around them. Yeah. That experience is because the ideas that get passed back and forth is more than X times the number of nodes. So I don't know that AI will ever replicate that. As a matter of fact, I'm betting against it.
Yep.
I think AI is great at following down a path and making it easy, but picking an entirely different path and deciding, let's go try that, that's a human endeavor. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what gets me excited, because then I get to go, I can sit with, I know the number of ideas, if I sit with 5 other developers, the number of ideas will come out of a half-hour discussion beyond anything I can imagine right now.
I really like your metaphor. Maybe AI is more of a information organizer, and humans are the one who invent new ideas. Actually, one of my one of my teachers in my graduate school, he has this. He said he loves to study his child. He is specialized at artificial intelligence, and he likes to study his child.
It's a massive parallel processing unit developing right in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
And maybe that's complementary to what we have in artificial intelligence here.
And very much so.
Yeah.
To the models. So we always say talk is cheap, show me the code. But recently we have seen a lot of new models, and everyone is claiming them to be the state of the art. So it somehow is becoming like still tech specs are cheap. So what is Google doing to make developers actually believe that something like Gemini or other AI tools are really good for their daily workflow?
It's an excellent question, by the way. And so you said, shut up and show me the code. The corollary to that is code is truth. Code is truth. It's something that I've always believed. I've had, technology leads come and tell me, Matt, stop explaining. Code is truth. Show me your code. Yeah. From an LLM perspective, there are obvious all the benchmarks that everybody looks at, and 1 week we're number 1, next week maybe somebody else is number 1. But there's actually a usability piece here. One of the big things that we think is different, and Ricky showed it with the CLI. The CLI, Gemini CLI it's a very simple way to get access to a world of capability in a developer-friendly manner. And yet, something that simple has opened up so many different new ideas, from Ricky using it for his email to creating Tetris to it's incredible. That's what we're actually trying to open up. So I'm actually going to argue we care deeply about the capability to generate code effectively.
I think that's a really good answer. To me, look, when I talk to developers, you touched on the anxiety. There's anxiety, there's excitement, there's confusion. And I think our approach is, hey, we're not here to tell you what you should do, or you know, every company is going to say they're the best. What we're really focused on is how do we help you learn, right? How do we empower you to use this stuff? And that could be our models and tools, it could not. But you know, my goal is really, as every developer sitting down and saying, how does this fit into my workflow, that we can meet them where they are, whether that's like literally like, you know, like we're doing in Beijing and meeting them where they are, or it's virtually over video, or it's through written content. But, you know, I think for us, if we can just help everyone navigate this, the tech will work itself out. But, you know, I just don't want anyone to feel like they got left behind.
And so I would say one of the things that I've really enjoyed about Ricky bringing this message is it's a very inclusive message. And so we started with the idea is that, hey, I'm coding, I've got my headphones on, it's all me. But then you've got this piece it's really about you and all the engagement you have with everybody around you. And I think I have a son who is very much, this is all about me, but even he is starting to see that as he engages and he shares ideas, there are new ways of approaching it. And I think that's the unique learning that humans have.
I feel the same. Like I'm that sort of like that's all about me kind of like coder, and but what I have been experiencing is that when AI saves me a lot of time, then maybe just I spend one day finish that project, then I put my headphones off, and then I gather my friends and I say, but before I don't have the time.
You're showing all these people through content, through the things you build, are the ones who are the most humble about it, right? And I think that's really beautiful too. Like you could be like, yeah, I totally get it. I'm awesome. I'm making a video. I'm making this. But you're like, no, I wish I could do more. Like I should do. Like I think that's so beautiful.
So we have talked a lot about the opportunities. Then maybe shine a little bit on the downside part. So for the artificial intelligence programming, we have seen like a lot of like more and more code are pouring into the open source community. So based on my personal experience, when I was interacting with AI, I see they generate like really a lot of code, and a lot of them are redundant. They use a lot of print commands. So what do you guys see this problem?
So AI does something, if you have enough tokens, AI does something that humans can't do. It handles complexity incredibly well. Complexity can be difficult. Humans are very good at pattern matching. They're very good at understanding if something, getting insight, seeing if something's hard, especially if you're an intelligent person, well trained, et cetera. The thing that AI does is it just deals with the mass, right? I can give an entire code base. One of the things that I do often with my team is, hey, there's this project I'd like you to look at. I'm just going to give you all the code, run it through Gemini, and let Gemini summarize what it does. So you don't have to ask me what it does, just go summarize it. That's what AI does well. What I get concerned about is as we generate more and more code, as you said, that it gets to the point where it will take an AI summarizing it, an AI consuming the summary to understand it. And as we get 2 or 3 or 4 levels away from the code, I worry that we lose the craftsmanship. Yeah. And so that's my concern, and that's why I've told both my kids, code is truth. Even if you're writing fewer lines of code than the AI, make sure you're still maintaining that capability.
I really believe in the code is true part. Like when I was developing my personal project all by myself without AI, I will think about everything, and then it will be easy for me to find some problem, like architecture problem. But when I was coding with AI, then it does a lot of work for me. Then it works, but it may have some problems, and the problem might be unknown to me. But like I also like your part on the, maybe we will just solve the problem created by AI. Yeah, like AI reviews the code, like generate, enlighten me on the problems, and then I will solve it. Yeah, maybe it accelerates our understanding of the code project.
So, are you familiar with, in the ancient world, there was the Library of Alexandria? Yeah. So the Library of Alexandria supposedly had a book in every known language in the ancient world. And that's interesting. But they also had a librarian that knew each language. So they had as many librarians as books because that librarian would be able to translate that book. That's an n factorial problem, or actually n to the x problem. Eventually we'll run out of capability with AI too for that. Like humans have to be, we believe in human-centered AI design. And to me, that's the single most important. Building systems outside of humans doesn't feel like it's going to be an answer for us.
When I look at the challenges in open source with AI, I think I try to take a step back and say, why are they happening, right? Why are kind of like what people may call slop PRs going into these, like, what's the behavior? And, it could be that like the developer doesn't know that it's not going to work, right? And like all of it then becomes like, how do we use empathy? How do we use understanding? I think when these moments happen and someone feels like they're told like, you're a bad person because you put this PR in, like that doesn't help them. But if it's like, hey, like, here's our stance on AI as an open source project, and this is why we have that stance, right? And it starts a conversation of the why, and I think that becomes so powerful. One of my favorite open source maintainers is the maintainer of Hono, which is a great JavaScript framework. His name is Yusuke, and he was the first maintainer for me that I saw really embrace how AI could help him move faster, right? But he did it thoughtfully. But for him, he was like, I have all these things I want to do with Hono, and I can't get all of them done. So like, how can I get them done quicker or at all, right? But he did such a great job of outlining the why he was thinking about using AI or how he was using it, so other people could engage. But I think that's going to help. It's also just going to be dicey for a while, I think, on this topic.
I think I hear a lot of human values from you guys. Like Ricky is more about like communication, help each other, and Matt is about AI can do all the acceleration, like the librarian, but inventing new things are still for, like, that lies on the hand of ourselves. Very much. Yeah. We need to feed the AI technology. So like at the end of our conversation, do you guys have some like golden advice for like 10 years later?
I had a boss who had a mantra of enjoy yourself. Mm-hmm. That mantra came from a song, and the first part of that song said, enjoy yourself, it's later than you think, right? Mm-hmm. For me, I do all these things because I love doing them, right? I am sitting here with Matt, I'm sitting here with you because there's nowhere I'd rather be right now than having conversations with you. And I think if everyone was able to find that thing in this moment, in 10 years, it's hard to imagine not being happy that you like made the decisions that put you in the places you want to be. And, I had someone ask me like, what do you say to someone that's like not going to use AI? Like, how do you explain to, I think it was, how do you explain to someone that if they don't use AI, they're going to get left behind, right? I was like, well, I don't know if that's necessarily true, right? That assumes we're all going to the same place and in the same direction. And so I think understanding where you want to go, if you want to lean into the AI stuff, like, we're having so much fun, and we would love to help you, right? If you're like, hey, I want to be, organic, human-created code 100%, I think there's still going to be a place for that. And I think if you're the best in the world of human organic code, you are going to be one of the most valuable developers in the world, right? And so I don't think there's a right answer. I think there's an answer for you, and the more you can find that, the better you'll be.
I want to go trademark organic code because you know how you go to the you go to the store, there's organic chicken, and we've now got organic code. I think I can sum this up really kind of in a short period of time, I hope. I'm so excited about the now. And I think back over, my understanding of history in a deep level probably goes back 100 years. And then a little understanding going back 1,000 years. So when I think 100 years in the future, this will be part of the history. And history has shown over time there are parts of quick acceleration, the exploration of the world, when the Chinese traveled all of Asia in sailing boats, or Western Europe traveled across the Pacific. Massive acceleration of discovery and understanding. We're right at the beginning of that again. Like there was physical exploration, and now we're going to be in metaphysical exploration, whether it's the sciences, whether it's math. I'm very excited for the type of science problems that will get solved in the next 5 to 25 years. I'm very excited about the type of opportunity services that people create, the type of communication we have. And then ultimately for me, I believe that the opportunity to explore the rest of the universe will be tied to this period of time as well. I don't know how, but I think AI leads to our ability to get outside of our own galaxy eventually, because I think that's going to be important. So we're right at the beginning of that. I think the history books written about today will show 100 years from now that this was that time. And that's what excites me.
In 10 years, you and I are going to be floating in the ice together, right? Like we're going to be exploring space together.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a really exciting picture. But we can still, like, if we want to be ourselves, do whatever we like, we can do that. Yeah, that's the golden advice. So thank you guys for the conversation. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.